So, in order to get growth to a much higher level, the first thing you need to do is to decide what your growth engines are going to be. Just a term I use. If you start off with a long list of all of the things that could bring you that growth, which will include all your existing businesses, but will probably include some businesses or some products or some services that you don't presently have. I wouldn't suggest you go off with your vision into areas you know nothing about, but you can certainly include what are called adjacencies. You could expand your business by entering some adjacent markets where you have sufficient skill and knowledge for that to be possible. And you can link that with moves geographically. If you're regional, you can go into new regions. If you're national, you can start thinking about exports. And typically, when we're doing these projects, we end up with a long list of about 12 or 15 possible candidates to be growth engines. If you don't do this work rigorously, management teams have a natural tendency to pick too many. They say, right, we started off with 12 or 15, everybody in the project team has got their own hobby horses, so you end up with 9 or 10 growth engines. If you do the work more rigorously, you should probably expect to end up with no more than 3 or 4. The reason managements tend to pick twice that number is because they're more comfortable with hit and hope. If I chuck 8 of these things at the wall, surely one or other of them must stick. Our advice is always do the thinking and the analysis more rigorously at the front end of the project, make your choices with more confidence, make a smaller number of choices and concentrate on them. And so information is gathered that enables you, with our help, to prioritise these 12 or 15 growth engines in search of which are the ones that are most attractive. One of the things you're looking to do here is an exercise in relative attractiveness. And a lot of the information you want is external. You want information about the market, and you want information about your customers, and you want information about your competitors. So maybe just mentally ask yourself the question, when was the last time that you did an independent survey of your customers and what's important to them? A lot of companies do that themselves, but your customers on the whole will be disposed to be nice to you. It's really important when you're doing this sort of strategy work to make sure you've got a genuinely independent view, that you understand what's important to your customers now and what's likely to be important to them in the period ahead. You also need competitive information because they provide the benchmarks for you. You need to understand how competitive you are. So when you properly understand what your customers want and what would be likely to lead them to award more business to you, and when you know how good your competitors are and how you compare with them, you're now in a much better position to decide on a relative attractiveness basis which of the potential growth engines are the ones you're most likely to select. And you'll normally find they do split themselves up more easily than you think. When you do the scoring, you'll typically find that the front runners to be in your growth strategy bunch at the top, and there's quite a big gap with all of the no-hopers.